Good evening, everybody. We are happy to have you back with us for another live help. Hopefully you are learning something each time that you come in. I'm going to go through our usual disclaimers. So the results here are provided for general information purposes. It's a convenience to you, the viewers. The materials are not a substitute for obtaining professional advice from a qualified person, firm, or corporation. This is not a solicitation to buy or sell any security ever. This is not advice, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
All right. So I wanted to, as I was telling Amanda earlier, I was in a personal fast market today. I didn't do much trading or review of a lot of the alerts on the Today tab, but I wanted to highlight the community. It is so valuable, in my opinion. We have a wealth of information every day. We have a bunch of fellow traders. It's not just me. I'm a relatively small part of it, just to try and keep everything flowing together. And I just wanted to highlight, this is one of our top contributors, the WAC2. And he found another put credit spread, PCS, with certain technical open characteristics. And you can use it for different DTEs. And he developed it, tested it, and is sharing it with the group. And if we click on this alert, we get this screen, which is 5 different delta combinations of PCSs, put credit spreads, 3-year period for this stock SYY, which is Cisco Core. And their next earnings are approximately the end of April. So this is a 21 DTE trade. So we don't have to worry about the earnings event. It's got a 50% limit as the closing condition, unless it runs out of time. And okay, yeah. So that's what the alert does. Let me see if I can move this out of the way. These are most of the technical conditions. He's missing kurtosis, I believe. I'll fine tune it. What I wanted to highlight is the great contributions that happen every day from various people in community. We always are going over the Today tab and what alerts are there and how they can be best used. I'm always encouraging people, don't just do one type of trade. You don't want your portfolio of option trades to be all short put spreads or all long call diagonals pre-earnings. You want an assortment of long delta, short delta, long volatility, short volatility, a nice assortment. I believe Ophir has at least one webinar on that subject as well that you can find in the Learn Center. So what I did very quickly, I took WAC2's opening conditions and I tested it on a portfolio rather than just an individual stock or a group of stocks. So I pre-did it just to save some time. So that'll be right here. I looked at the XLK sector, which is tech companies. I did it for 3 years, going back from today's date. And I believe there were 51 entries. The 52nd entry is the total line. So there are 51 stocks that were evaluated. The average trade return across all 51 stocks is 8.38% over this 3-year period. That's acceptable for me. That means I want to look for the positive average trade results for the top stocks, and those would be the ones that I would select to create alerts. So definitely something that has an average trade return of 60% would be a consideration. What turns me off slightly is it's only slightly better than a 50-50, but I will go through 2 year, 1 year, and 6 months. I've done that in a previous Zoom. I'm not going to repeat that tonight. But the second one, HPQ, nice winning percentage, 74.2. Average trade win percentage, 34 in dollars to 34%, 34.7% profit. STX, even better. I would go down this list and pick out some of these for now. WDC, anything double digit for an average trade return over 3 years, I'm going to want to create an alert. So I just wanted to show that very quickly, not take time away from potential questions. This is the kind of thing that goes on in community every day. You can just watch, you can ask questions, you can ask questions about the TradeMachine software. It's the place to be when you have time.
You can
And
ask questions of Max.
you can ask me questions, or you can ask smarter people questions. I might jump in and answer those questions. I might jump in and answer those questions anyway. And if available, there's even people in here on the weekends. I try and pass through on the weekends when there's no Super Bowl, just to see what's going on and if anybody needs any help. So that's the home. That's the learn. And this is our good friend, the Today tab. And just to highlight, this is a fade to dip category, which is selling put spreads. And if an alert has the AI component, it's signaled this way. So you can pick them out pretty quickly.
Max, if you go down to, I believe it was 14 days, BKNG actually had a trigger that was with AI up one. Sorry, am I not?
This one?
BKNG in that box.
Oh, yes.
It had a trigger with AI and without, so you can kind of see what the difference is showing the returns. It does reduce the number of wins, as you can see there, but it's a stronger alert overall. If you want to dive into actually looking over exactly what happens with each of those, I know Max has spent some time researching that. You can find out if it's something that fits your trading strategy or not. But we're just trying to make everything easier, quicker, and simplified as much as possible for you guys to make educated decisions on your own.
So I just clicked on the BKNG with AI, and you'll see I can very easily, quickly explain. This is 14 days before earnings. It's a TradeMachine diagonal special. I'll show you the details of the option trade in a second. But you can see the win rate is 5-0. The backtest without the AI component, kurtosis 1 year greater than 1, was 7-0. And the basic backtest is we want the stock to be above the SMA 50. It's SMA 50. The kurtosis, we want a nice positive kurtosis greater than 1 year. You can see for this bookings holdings, the kurtosis 1 year is a positive 19.4. And that's why it qualified. I'm a platinum user, so I not only get to see the alerts of is it still triggered, but I also get to see, as a platinum user, you get to see starting point suggested options to be used if you decide to take this alert and make a trade out of it. So in this case, we're long the February 23, 3860 call and short the February 16. So you see a longer dated long call and a shorter dated short call that's further out of the money. If we look at the details of the diagonal special by just clicking on the edit button, you'll see that the basic option trade is we want our long call 50 delta, approximately 14 days expiration, and the short call 30 delta, 7-day expiration. And these are approximate. TradeMachine will find the nearest expiration that meets the requirement of being after the earnings event for the long, and then for the short, the closest expiration that's before the earnings event.
On that
Yes.
note, Max, I was just going to add two things. If there are not options that fit the requirements of the backtest, you're going to see a message here instead of options displayed. It's going to say something along the lines of there was no options found, so that you know that although the technical conditions have been triggered, the options are not available. And one other thing that I was going to add, you kind of skimmed over it, but we did have one other little tiny secret upgrade that we made. You can now see the ticker name in that top corner. It was not
Yes.
there before. So now you can know what company you're trading without
Right.
having to go between sites.
Right. So the only other thing I'll say about this alert, BKNG is a $3,800 stock. So this diagonal, I looked at it pretty quickly earlier today. Range of the price for the diagonal was between $7,600 and $8,100 per one trade. So it's a significant big boy trade. I did not take it for that reason. I'd rather do multiples of smaller stock price trades. But if your account supports this kind of trade, this was an excellent trade to take today. And I know some people in community who did take it. Okay, so let's start.
All right. Is it a good time to ask questions? It's always a good time to ask questions. That's how we learn.
Yep.
Like your screen, my today tab, I see the tickers were triggered yesterday or 2 days ago. How can I set it to show only today or current active triggers?
Okay. Right now, you want to answer that? Go ahead.
Right now you can't. If you would like that as a feature request, certainly submit it to support.
Right.
Max, do you have any tips that you wanted to share beyond that?
Yes. I've submitted that request, and I know a couple of other people in community have already submitted that request. But I would say that what you can do for any column, let me move this out of the way. If we're looking at the pre-earnings 14-day diagonal triggered, you'll see these are all over the place today, yesterday, but any column can be organized by, I guess it's alphabetical. So you'll see 2 days ago, then today. All the todays are one right after the other. It's a great feature. It helps organize when I'm looking for just today's information. So I'll scroll down, I'll do another one. Pre-earnings 14-day long call. All right, they're all together. I can quickly go through them, see which ones I like or don't like. And another thing you can do today is you can look at all tickers, just the Dow 30 tickers, NASDAQ 100, or largest 500 companies. And that's the one I usually look at after I do a quick scan of all of them. And it'll cut down the number of displayed alerts. And that helps me focus in on the larger companies that are likely to have the better bid ask for options. That's what I do.
So I agree. What I do most of the time when I'm looking at the Today tab is I immediately go to largest 500. And if I'm looking for specific triggers for today, I then filter by the triggered one. Sometimes if I'm looking for specific win-loss ratios, I will filter by those columns as well. So any of those titles you can filter down if you want it to be by return rate, whatever. You can filter it. You can filter it in reverse order as well. So I think it makes it a lot easier to look at things, just keeping that in mind. Right.
Okay.
Also, why is it showing triggers as active after market is closed? You can't do options trading after market closed. Am I missing something here?
No, you're not missing anything. But it's letting you know that as of basically it's letting you know that as of the end of the option trading day, even if you're checking it at 7:24 p.m. New York time, that at the end of the day, it was still an active trade. The end of the option trading day, it was still an active trade. And it's just including the current time. Now, during the trading day, you could look at it at 11 a.m. You could look at it again at 1 p.m. and make sure and look at it at 3:30 or 3:45. Those are the critical times to make sure that it's still active before you potentially put a trade on.
And I would add, the big component of that is things like SMA, EMA. So it's actually looking at technical conditions that are really based on stock price. So that can have slight after hours fluctuation. So that is where that trigger is still reading off of, is based on stock price too. But yes, Max is absolutely correct. It is basing the options on end of day.
Okay.
I have not seen any iron condor trade put and call spreads, long short suggestions since I signed up, even though I ran the back test on 30 to 40 different stocks. Am I missing something?
You just haven't experienced them yet. I'm just looking at the pre-earnings 14-day call. This trade is long calls. Now, what I will do, and I believe I did an example in one of the last two Zooms. If something's just a long call or long put, I always back test a call spread or a put spread. Just the way I am, my experience over the years, I always, if I'm going to be long an option, I want to be short an option against it. Lower delta. It just minimizes the risk that you're taking by just being long or short a call. So I'm always looking and back testing spreads, whether they're part of the Today tab alert or personal alerts that I have. And I can also tell you that I've been testing out a 1 DTE trade on SPY and QQQ that's an iron condor, 15.5, 11.8, short the 15 delta, long the 5 delta on both sides of the market. So keep watching, do your own back test. The capability is there. Let me move this out of the way, and you can do anything you want. You can do well, besides this, you can do the stock and etc. But you can do trades with just long or short calls, and you set it. Okay, this is a custom alert, so all right, let me do one. I can do a call spread. It's going to ask me, do I want to be long or short? I want to be long. Here's expiration 14 days. You can change this days to expiration. And here's 3-year back test. It's 3 and 2, just being long call spreads that met these two technical open conditions. We can look at put spreads if you like. It's got horrible results, but instead of being long the put spread, let's be short the put spread. All right, now it has similar win-loss ratio to being long call spreads. I believe this return is less. These are the gyrations that you can go through with TradeMachine backtest. There's not much you cannot do. I know that's a double negative, but there's not much you cannot do.
And if you're looking for inspiration, that is what community is there for. 100%. Hop in there, see what others are doing, get ideas, and then tweak it to fit your preferences.
Yeah. Or ask a question. Ask away.
Absolutely. And that actually kind of rolls into the next question, Max. Hi, sometimes a trigger goes back and forth from inactive to active. I think yesterday that was the case with VERSK, and today with Fang. It didn't come back EOD. Thanks for responding by community and email. I actually looked at FANG today.
Yeah, so did I.
It, if I remember correctly, it was the 50-day SMA that caused it.
Yes, it was bouncing around it needed to be below the 50 SMA. When the first alert happened, it was, but during the day, the stock went over the 50 SMA and invalidated the alert. That's the beautiful thing about retesting the alerts towards the end of the day before you take a trade. This is all daily data, and that's what the back test is based on. So you double check it if you have the time, starting it within the last half hour of the trading day to make sure it still says triggered. But that's what happened with Fang. It was bouncing around above and below the 50 SMA, and the stock needed to be below it.
Correct. Everything else was correct. Everything else had met the conditions, but you've got to remember that everything has to be there. And that includes, I know this question, I think, came up on maybe our last live help session and in community, but that also is going to apply to any earnings handling. So if you have custom earnings set, if it triggers on, it's supposed to trigger on 14 days, it's not going to trigger on 13 days or 15 days, even if every other condition is met. You're not going to get that alert.
Yes, I did not state that in the first Zoom, and you confirmed it and let me know, and I let everybody in community know that. Yeah. So like even NVIDIA, I can click on it. Let's see what it has to say, but this alert is from yesterday. Let's see if it's what it says about triggered. This is a test. See, it's saying not active. Now, even if the stock is above the SMA 50, and I bet it is because it's NVIDIA, there are now 13 days to the earnings event, not 14. So it's not active today, strictly speaking. If you missed this at the end of the day yesterday and put it on at the beginning of the day today, I would not be upset with you. So there's a little leeway, but I wouldn't wait to the end of the day. I would do it early if you missed it late yesterday, the day the alert happened.
Max, why don't you scroll down to the bottom and show them how they can zoom in on the daily candle to review if it's crossed over the SMA or whatever. Okay. So if you go all the way down to the very bottom of the back test, that little slide bar, it's very, very well hidden. It's a very good secret that we keep, but you can zoom all the way in and you can actually pinpoint candles on a chart when you're looking at a 3-year back test or 3 or more even. Did we update the back test for the
I didn't click on the date, so that's me. That's my bad.
That's okay. I didn't tell you to either.
I just did. We're okay. So now I got to do that. I got to do that again, but it's all right. I need to practice.
Unfortunately, every time you load it, you do have to redo it, and I can promise you that even I, on a daily basis, have to go back because I forgot to update the date. So you guys are not alone.
So there you'll see a summary of the EMAs and price for today. Yep. And there's yesterday's.
And this is all intraday. It updates as we go through the day, right, with the high-low, and you can monitor it ongoing.
Yeah, the high-low, all the SMAs and EMAs are calculated during the day to make sure that all the technical conditions hold.
Correct.
All right.
Right. User that wanted to point out that today triggers are in blue text on a white background, so you can spot them easily after sorting. Yes, Max's computer is a little different than everybody else's, but you are correct.
I configured mine through Windows to be on a dark background because the older you get, the harder it is to read the screen. Let's not focus on that. All right. Go ahead.
All right. Next question is, I believe, referencing one of the other questions that we had about the iron condors, and it said, could it be a glitch? If you think that you're not getting alerts that you are supposed to be getting, if you think that it triggered and you didn't receive an alert, please email support and let us know. You can send us a backtest link and we can look at the exact conditions that you have set
You can
Um,
also ask in community if I have the time, I'll take a quick look at the back test myself and see if there's an easy answer.
Absolutely. But definitely, if you ever have any doubts, somebody else already pointed out that they've reached out. We are happy to look at the back test to make sure that we can help guide you through it and see if it is in fact a glitch or if it's just something that was easily like a stock bouncing around at the end of the day or one that had a big jump at the end of the day. I've seen that before too, that kind of throws everybody for a loop. All right. Iron condors were once popular as trades a day, a day before a day before earnings. Are they still used?
You can use them. I haven't seen, best of my recollection, I haven't seen any significant discussion of them in community. I may have missed it. Well, my strategy for earnings is I consider them a 50-50 bet. Um, and iron condor or short strangles because you think the volatility is very high. Those are not the kind of trades that I would take because I'm always worried about the outlier, and earnings events can generate outlier events. Okay.
Next question, could you run AutoZone AZO?
Do you
Was
remember what category it was in?
this is the same user that was asking about the iron condor, so I'm wondering if maybe he means in an iron condor. Um, don't think there was an AZO trigger today,
Yeah, I don't remember
but I
seeing
could be
an
wrong.
AZO trigger. Okay, well let's see what I got here. Let's make BN. Let me move this over to this side now. And let's make this AZO. And we'll leave it at 14 days to expiration. We'll do a 3-year back test. I'll click on it so it'll go through today. I don't know if the gentleman does he want an iron condor?
It's not clear.
All right. Well, here's the short.
Yes, yes. They just confirmed they would like to see the iron condor.
All right. What would he like? What would he like the deltas to be on this iron condor?
If you want to drop in chat preferences on deltas,
Yeah.
any. He says any.
Okay. Well,
So
this example
Max's
right here,
choice.
yeah. We're short the 40 delta call and put, and we're long the 30 delta call and put. Back 3 years, there are only 2 events. It's not active today. Slightly negative overall return, 50-50 win rate. Now, just a quick review. If you want to change the deltas, you can. We're only going to do 1 out of the 5, but I can change this 40-30 to 15 and 10. Let's see some low delta iron condors if this helps the results. We'll save it. So now you'll see the shorts. Okay, and at least we have a positive return. We still have a 50-50 event, but total return is 3.4% of the amount risked. 14 DTE on the iron condor. Hope that helps.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have that person reach out to support. It looks like there might be a different issue going on there. But I will definitely follow up with that user. Is there a way to configure community to make it easier to follow?
This is an improvement over the way it used to be.
I think I know what they are
Is
referring
this
to,
is this
and
he or she only wants to follow certain people, and we had
uh,
that capability and we don't have it now?
correct. I believe that's what they're looking for, and that is something that is on the table for the community development team. I don't know when it's going to come back just yet, but it is supposed to be coming back. I know a lot of people look for that to filter out Ophir and a couple other specific users. So that is something that they're looking at bringing back. It's just a matter of getting it back in there.
Cool.
All right, next question for Max is, I would be interested to research backtest results on stocks that reach their 52-week high. Might that be able to be added as an opening trigger?
You know, I know that came up earlier this week in community, and I asked the person to submit that as a new feature request to the support staff.
Yes.
Support at
Email support.
cmlviz.com.
Email support. We will add it to the list. I do believe we touched on that on the last live help as well, but submit that in and I will add it to the list.
Yeah.
All right.
So
I thought Fang stock has to be above SMA. That's what it states. Am I wrong? Can you pull up the Fang trigger? I believe that it is
yeah,
the
I think
SMA 50 is
I'm
below.
very sorry to tell the person that I believe he's incorrect, but I can double check it. I could be wrong. I make mistakes.
I believe it was buy the dip or bullish burst.
I think it was bullish burst. Here's Fang, right? Fang is what we're looking
Yep.
for.
Yep. Fang.
Okay. So the back test will come up and you'll see it's a little tricky because everything else says stock above 10. Yesterday's stock was below 10. Stock above the SMA 200. And then it reverses the terms. It says SMA 50 above the price, not stock above SMA 50. All right? So stock has to be below the SMA 50 for this to be a valid active trigger.
And that's where it was getting tripped up today. Is that
Yes.
it was bouncing around on that line pretty hard.
Yes. I thought I answered that question in the community today, but maybe I forgot. All
That's
right.
why we're here. All right.
What's
Tesla
next?
Tesla triggered today, MACD momentum, QA diagonal 50-20, custom strategy. Could you please deselect and walk through, dissect and walk through this trade trigger?
Okay, MACD momentum.
Yep, and Tesla is right there towards the bottom.
All right, I'm going to click on 3-year anyway, even though it looks like it has the current date. And all right, so it's got a 67% ballpark speaking over the 3 years, 4 and 2. Triggered today, was good at the end of the day, and total return of 206%. And the conditions for opening, RSI 14 below 40, MACD MA 12 days, EMA 26 days is greater than the EMA 9-day. And I assume we want to focus in on the option strategy, 50-20. So this is probably going to be a 60 DTE, 30 DTE time frame diagonal, and it's going to be long the 50 delta and short the 20 delta calls, both calls. So let's see if I'm close. All right, so along the 50 delta, 60 DTE, and we're short the 20 delta, 30 DTE. And we close this trade when the 30 days are up, unless there are some closing conditions that we'll look at right now. And there are not. So this trade runs, I mean, you can close it earlier if you achieve your profit objective, but this trade runs until the 30 DTE short 20 delta call expires. All right. So it's a 30, your long is in 60 DTE at the start of the trade, but the trade only runs 30 days. And we went over what the option trade looks like. We can show the options that TradeMachine suggests. And it's long the April 19 expiration, short the March 8 expiration. And This one had the 195 call has to be close to 50 delta, and the 215 call has to be close to 20 delta. I think I've dissected it.
I think you did a great job.
Thank you.
And Max, we've answered all the questions. Somebody
what-
just popped in with one more.
Yeah,
What's
go
the
ahead.
program upgrade? I believe that they're probably referring to Platinum. Max, did you want to, as a Platinum user, discuss what you're getting?
Well, we're not only getting, whether it's triggered or not, during the trading day, starting about 10:30, 10:45 Eastern time. But let me do this again. Let's do 2-year. We also get suggested options, show options that can be used. It's only for the Platinum people at the present time. I think that's going to stay that way. Everybody's going to know whether it's triggered or not, but only the Platinum users will get the show options. And it says, it's asking you to confirm that this is information shown. It's not a recommendation. It's just a place to start, giving you details. Click OK, and it gives you the detailed option suggestion for this long call diagonal. And it also operates a hell of a lot faster when you're doing back tests. And your portfolios, I believe, can contain up to 200 stocks, whereas the limit on your monthly TradeMachine account is 50. Am I correct, Amanda?
You are correct on all accounts. So
Okay.
backtesting speeds are about 5 to 10x what you'd see in the Pro version. And you can backtest 4 times as many stocks. You get to see the options chain data that TradeMachine. This is what you would see since this particular trigger held until end of the day, clearly. So tomorrow you should be able to go in and review the actual trade that's in the backtest tile and see that it took the April 19th 195 calls and the March 8th 215 calls. If you have more questions about Platinum or anything, just email support. We're happy to give you all of the details that you need. If you want to upgrade, you can reach out to us there and we'll help you upgrade. But that's what we're there for. So don't hesitate. If you have questions, to message us. We'll get back to you. We try to get to you as quickly as possible. So it's not generally a very long wait to get a response. We are done, Max. So
I thank everybody for coming. All my family members and acquaintances. Very nice of you to show up tonight.
Absolutely. And Max and I will be back next week on Tuesday and Thursday. Everybody have a wonderful evening. And if you're watching the Super Bowl, hopefully your team wins.
Take care, everybody. See you in community.